In August of 2024, the Miller family, David, Sarah, and their two children, Chloe and Leo, set out on what was supposed to be a cross-country road trip, a fresh start. They documented their journey on a small camcorder, hoping to capture memories. But 3 months later, that same video camera was discovered by hikers in the desolate expanse of the Nevada desert. The family was never seen again. What you are about to see is that footage. It has not been edited, and viewer discretion is strongly advised. The footage begins on a suburban driveway, the scene uncomfortably familiar. The family minivan's hatch is open, surrounded by boxes and bags. There's a tangible tension in the air. The son, Leo, is behind the camera, clearly instructed by his father to film everything for the memories. His sister, Chloe, is immediately hostile. A teenager being torn from her life, her frustration palpable. "Great," she says, "the worst week of my life. In perfect focus." The father, David, enters the frame, forcing an almost manic cheerfulness. He calls their trip Operation Fresh Start. But the mother, Sarah, emerges from the house with a box of old photos, her movements slow, heavy with reluctance. "I thought we were leaving this behind," she says. "A fresh start, David. You always promise." The line hangs in the air, a clear indicator that this isn't their first fresh start. David's smile tightens, a crack in the facade. This isn't just a family moving. This is a family running from something. The scene cuts to a dash cam view, the car speeding down an endless highway through a barren, orange-lit landscape. The initial bickering has faded into a heavy, oppressive silence. Leo asks the classic road trip question, "Are we there yet?" But it lacks any real childish excitement. David tries to keep the mood light, talking about the majesty of the landscape, but Sarah's response is bleak. "It's just brown. There's nothing." Chloe agrees, calling it empty. David's desperation to reframe their situation is almost painful to watch. "It's not empty, it's open, a clean slate. No, history," he insists. "We can finally breathe." But Sarah's bitter reply, a soft scoff followed by, "I feel like I can't breathe at all," tells us everything we need to know. The open road isn't a symbol of freedom for her, it's a cage. It's at this moment that the footage takes its first truly unsettling turn. As the camera pans to the desert rolling by, Leo spots something. For just a split second, on a distant shimmering ridge, a dark shape is silhouetted against the sky. It looks like a person, standing perfectly still. "Whoa, you guys see that?" Leo asks. But by the time David looks, it's gone. "Tricks of the light out here," David dismisses. The camera holds on the empty ridge, but the feeling of being watched now permeates the film. The next cut plunges us into night. The van is stopped on the shoulder of a desolate road, hazard lights blinking an eerie orange rhythm in the total darkness. The camera, seemingly placed on the ground, points up at David staring at a completely flat tire. His muttered, "No, no, no," is filled with dread. There's no cell service. David tries to remain in control, but the family's carefully constructed peace shatters. Sarah's voice from inside the car is laced with accusation. "You and your shortcuts!" Their argument escalates, the raw anger and resentment boiling over. "It always happens," she cries. "Broken down on the side of the road, it's us." David tries to defend the trip, shouting that it's for the family, but Sarah delivers the final devastating blow. "There is no us anymore, not after what you did." Her words are cut off by a sound from the darkness, a low, guttural, mechanical rumble. The camera whips to the back windshield. Far down the road, a pair of headlights appears. They're round, high off the ground, belonging to a large truck. It drives slowly toward them, then stops about 100 yards away, pinning them in a harsh white glare. The engine idles, a constant, menacing hum. The family is frozen. Chloe's voice trembles. "What do they want?" David tries to rationalize it, suggesting it's a local offering help, but his tone betrays his fear. The truck just sits there, watching, waiting. The silence is deafening, broken only by the engine's hum and Sarah's whispered, "David, this doesn't feel right." Just as David tells everyone to lock the doors, the truck's engine revs violently. Then, the headlights flick off, plunging them into absolute terrifying darkness. The sound of the truck's engine fades, leaving them completely alone on the side of the road. The initial threat gone, but the terror lingering. The footage jumps again. It's later that night. The scene is lit only by a weak, bouncing flashlight beam. The family is huddled around a pathetic campfire. The van's jack has slipped, rendering it useless. They're stranded until morning. Sarah is terrified the truck will come back. As David tries to reassure her, a twig snaps in the darkness nearby. Everyone freezes. The flashlight beam jerks toward the sound, revealing nothing but empty desert. "There's someone out there," Chloe whispers. Then a voice drifts from the darkness. It's low, distorted, almost carried on the wind. It says a single word. "Lost?" Panic sets in. David shouts into the night, demanding they show themselves. Another voice answers, this time a woman's, eerily calm, from a different direction. "So much anger." Sarah begins to cry, terrified. "They know," she sobs. "How do they know?" The flashlight beam catches a flicker of movement, landing on a tall, thin figure behind a rock. We can't see its face, but there's a strange symbol painted on its cheek. As Leo tries to zoom in with the camera, the image corrupts, breaking into digital static. A high-pitched whine begins to build. "Get back in the car! Now!" David screams. What follows is pure chaos. The flashlight strobes wildly, illuminating fragments of terror. We hear panicked shouting, the scrape of shoes on gravel as they run. The electronic whine mixes with what sounds like distorted, inhuman laughter. Chloe screams, "They're everywhere!" The camera swings back to David, who is now holding a tire iron, preparing to fight. A figure steps into the dim firelight. We only see its lower half, tattered pants, bare feet caked in dust. Sarah screams David's name. Then we hear a sickening, wet thud. The camera is dropped. It lands on its side in the sand, pointing up at the night sky. The lens captures a horrific blur of motion, frantic shapes running past. We hear a muffled scream from Chloe, then another from Sarah, both cut off abruptly. The last thing the camera clearly captures is Leo's legs being dragged backward into the darkness by an unseen figure. His screams echo for a moment, then there's a final, sharp sound, like a bone snapping. And then silence. The camera lies still on the desert floor. The only view is of the vast, indifferent night sky, glittering with a billion stars. The only sound is the wind whispering over the microphone, a lonely, desolate sound that seems to go on forever. For a full minute, nothing happens. We just stare at the sky. Then the small red recording light on the camera blinks once, twice, and then goes dark. The screen and the story of the Miller family cuts to black. Thank you for watching. If this story affected you, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into the unknown. Stay safe out there.